y'all. Welcome back to the Be Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Brittney. Clearly, I'm here with no co host tonight. Um, I just kind of wanted to go ahead and record this episode um, for the Paris trip. And I felt like a co host wasn't needed, or it would either have to be Shatar since she was the one that was like on the trip with me. By the way, I don't know what episode number this is. I did not check before I started recording. So we're going to keep it brief. We're gonna keep it fun, and I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of just info about my trip and just about Paris in general. I'm drinking Wolcott bourbon. I think that's what it is. I don't know, some new bourbon I tried. Not a new one, but it's new to me bourbon that I'm trying. So if you're drinking, cheers. Um, so yeah, this Paris trip. I went to Paris. I was in Paris for 8 days. Um, I flew from Texas to New York to Paris and back, same route. It was expensive. Just so happened that the time I planned the trip was also during Paris Fashion Week. So that was really cool because like I have always wanted to go to Paris Fashion Week. So it just worked out that I was able to do Paris Fashion Week and go on this trip. So I'll start off where y'all want me to start off. I know. Yes, I did go on this trip to go see a man. Um, Crazy? Yes. Once in a lifetime sort of thing? Yes. Fun? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. Um, but to give y'all a little background without going too deep in too much detail about the trip, how I met this man. So I went to Mexico a few months ago, whatever. Was out there with my friend Shatar. She's the same friend that went with me um, on this trip to Paris. And while I was out there, I met a guy, and he is French. And he was like, "Come visit me." So I went to visit him. Um, I'll tell y'all briefly how I met him. I was out one night at like a club or whatever. Me and my friend had a section, and it was just her and I. And the waiter came over and was like, "Oh, there's these guys. They want to get a section too. Do you mind if we put them at y'all section? You know, they're gonna do bottle service, blah blah blah." Like, and at first I was kind of like, then I was just like, whatever. So then three guys come over. Um, they were all like nice looking guys. They come over, they just look like regular American men to me. So I don't think anything, I don't know what just felt. I don't think anything of it. Um, I'm just like, whatever, we're like, me and my friend are still having fun. We're not really paying them much attention. And like, then I noticed like one of them, like, oh, he's fine, fine. Like, okay. So y'all know me, never to be a shy girl. I just started talking to him, and yeah, we just exchanged info or whatever. And I don't know if I should tell y'all this part now or if I should tell you this part later. Okay, so we're talking, and like he's saying stuff, but not really saying stuff, and like it's loud in there, so I really can't hear that good. So I'm like thinking like he was seeming confused by what I was saying, but like he was not saying that he was confused. So I just was just like, all right, well, obviously, like it's just too loud in here. Come to find out, he doesn't really speak that much English. So yeah, I know you're probably like, Brittney, what the fuck? So yeah, he doesn't speak that much English, and so we ended up exchanging info. We hung out that night. We go home like from the club. They leave separate. We leave before them or whatever. We go home. We get in bed. So we're like on this whole like, oh, we're just here to rest. We're not gonna be doing too much type of thing. And then we're like laying out by the pool. We're like taking shots, having a blast. And she's like, one of us was like, we should just go out tonight, or we might have said at the same time, like, let's just go back out again tonight, because we were like, we're not going out again. So I'm like, cool. So the dude hits me up on Instagram. He's like, hey, what are y'all doing tonight? Oh, by the way, we're using like Google Translate to talk to each other. Well, the first night we did not really use Google Translate that much, like a little bit. We were like kind of talking, but then we're communicating via texting or whatever, um, via Instagram actually. And he was like, "What are y'all doing tonight?" I was like, "We're gonna go out. Don't really know. Like, you want to come meet us, kind of thing." And he was like, "Yeah." So him and his friends pull up, and we're at like this little hookah lounge or whatever, and we had met some girls in the resort. So the girls in the resort came with us, and he pulls up with his parents, and like he comes and sits down, and they're like speaking, like saying, "What's up, hey?" And they're like, "We about to go to another club. We about to go to strip club." And they ask him like, "Are you coming?" They ask us if we're coming. We're like, I'm good. I don't want to go to the strip club." And then he was like, "No, I'm not coming. I want to stay here with her." And I was like, "Okay." So we ended up hanging out all night. It was really fun. Like he does not drink, but he wasn't one of those people that doesn't drink and then he's like fucking boring. He was still fun. He was like buying shots and like all kind of stuff. Like he was fun, just like mad fun. So that night we hang out or whatever, and like we had hired a taxi to be with us for the whole night. So basically the taxi drove us from our resort to the club, and he was gonna wait for us until like 2 a.m. I think. And it was getting close to 2 a.m. and I'm like, "Yo, we're about to go or whatever." And he was like, "Cool, I'm gonna leave too." So we're leaving or whatever, and like we're talking in the Google Translate app like the whole night, or whatever. My friend is a weak as fuck, but we're talking in Google Translate. So mind you, it's still loud because we're still like in clubs and stuff. So like in my mind, he doesn't really know very much English at all. So because he's like, "I don't speak English." So I'm thinking like he don't speak English, like I don't speak French. Like I do not speak French. Like I don't know no French. So that's what I'm thinking. Like he really doesn't speak it, whatever. So we're gonna translate app or whatever. And the thing that really got me was like I was like, "All right, thank you for everything. Have fun. Have a nice night." I typed something like that into the chat. And he like reaches out to hug me and he types into the app like, "I'll see you in Paris." Nigga, yes, the fuck you will. Like, absolutely. Yes. So like I was like, "Oh." So then like we're talking. He'd like text me to make sure I made it back to my resort. Okay, whatever. And then he like texted the next day and he was just like, "Hey, um, just letting you know, like I'm gonna about to go on this flight. It's however long, like I won't be able to communicate with you." And I love a man that communicates. Like, let me fucking know what you doing. Like, let me know what's going on. So I was like, "Okay." So then I was like, "But not like I'm coming to Paris for real." He was like, "No, come to Paris." So we talk, we're like, talking, texting, whatever. And come to find out his birthday was in September. And I was like, and I don't know if I feel like I'm giving y'all too much information. Hold on, let me think. Okay, I'll say this because y'all not gonna find him, so it doesn't matter. So, okay, this is a topic for me to discuss by myself, but to tell y'all, I have been attracting men younger than me for a long time, but like usually it's like 1 to 3 years younger than me. Lately, I have been attracting 26 to 30-year olds, like consistently. So this man was 29 years old. So it was his 30th birthday. I'm like, "It's your 30th birthday. Like, what are you doing for your birthday?" And he was like, "I don't know, like whatever." I was like, "I'm coming to Paris for your birthday." And he was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Cool." So we planned this whole trip or whatever. I asked my friend to come with me because she was the friend that was with me like when I met him, whatever, and I felt like that would just be like a good time, like having her there since she had met him with me. And I mean, I know she's always down for a trip or whatever, so I was just like, "Let's do it." So she was all with it. So um, I'm not gonna tell you the day of his birthday, but his birthday was during the time we was there in Fashion Week. Was during Fashion Week. So like he was like, "Come on." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Now let me take a time out." I want to be clear. Have I always wanted to visit Paris? Yes. Have I always wanted to like experience Fashion Week? More than anything, I've wanted to experience Fashion Week more than I probably even wanted to experience Paris. So it's specifically Paris Fashion Week. I mean, like Paris Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, and then New York Fashion Week is kind of how I look at it. Like I've been to Milan before, but not for Fashion Week. So, anyways, point blank period. Like y'all know, Paris Fashion Week is like she's that girl. So I'm like, "Okay, cool. This is cool." I wanted to visit Paris, but it was not on my list of like places that I was planning on going in the next like 2 years. I mean, it's like I have so many places I want to visit, so many places in the world, but specifically in Europe that I wanted to visit first. And I was just kind of like, I'll get to Paris when I get there. It'll be one of those like stopover trips where like I'm going somewhere else, but I'm gonna do like 2 nights in Paris just to go because it's like I hope it's not too distracting that the camera's moving, y'all. Sorry. Um, but Paris was like one of those one of those ones where I was just like, I'll get there when I get there. So the fact that I'm intentionally going to Paris was like kind of a big deal because one, I did not have any plans to go to Europe for a second time this year. Crazy. And then two, it was not top on my list of places that I needed to go again, right? So planning this trip, we're having like a really hard time finding accommodations and stuff. So I'm like, what is going on that's making this like so hard to like um travel to? And come to find out it is Paris Fashion Week. And that's why we're having a hard time. We end up finding everything that we need. We end up booking our trip. It ends up being perfectly fine. Like it was cool. I hope this is not too distracting for y'all. That's crazy. It's distracting as hell for me. But anyways, so book the trip. Um, I fly out there and I'm trying to think where I want to start. Like he offers to pick us up from the airport, and I was just like, no, because I'm shy. Y'all don't believe me, but I am shy. And I'm like, I don't want my first time seeing him again to be like right when I get off the plane. Because like, not because I care how I look, because I look how I look. Like I'm on here now, I don't got no makeup on, like whatever. But just because I was like, okay, it would be mad awkward. Like I'm gonna be seeing somebody for this camera is pissing me off because I'm not even moving. Um, anyways, so I just didn't feel like I wanted him to pick me up like and that be the first time we saw each other since, you know, Mexico or whatever. And I was like, I don't know, it might be awkward. Like he doesn't speak he speaks English. Okay. So come to find out he does speak English. Just not like fluent, but like very good English for a non-native English speaker. Like he speaks very good English. He studied it in school. I think he might have studied it in college. I don't know, but way more than what I speak French. And I think the part that I thought was really cute was like he was like, I was like, oh, I need to learn French. And he's like, no, 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 I need to learn English. Like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, I'm glad you know, because I'm not learning no motherfucking French. Like, languages are not my thing. So I mean, I still have been practicing though. But yeah. I'm like now that I knew how much now that I after I found out how much English he spoke, it was definitely easier to speak for him to learn more English than it was for me. But he got English down just fine. Like it's fine. So I'm gonna change this setting on this camera because it's making me mad now, y'all. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're good. All right, I think. Let me fix it. Okay. All right, that works. So, anyways, so I'm like, we get there, you know, we get our taxi from the airport, whatever. We get there and it was cool. We stayed in the 10th. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like the 10th neighborhood, the Advert something, whatever the word is for like neighborhood or something like that. Because like in Paris, I think they have like 19 or 20 like neighborhoods and like apparently they're like they spiral out so like they start with one and then it goes like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and so on and so forth. It's like a spiral out or whatever. So we were in the 10th, loved the neighborhood that we were in. I don't know what else to say to call it. We were right by a train station. So, and we were by not just like the French train station, we were also by like a I mean not just a Parisian metro station. We were also by like a train station that took you out of Paris. So we were super centrally located. It was so good. So anyways, make a long story short, um I guess I'm gonna start getting into like so yes, went to Paris to see a man. My friend came along with me to make sure I would be safe. Um I'll wrap up the part about the man. Now, it was fun. We went on some good dates. I have fun. I don't really know what else to say. Like it was cool. We hung out, and that was that. I don't really feel like I need to go in any more detail um about it. Going out the country to go on a date, I give the experience like a 7 or 8 out of 10, only because like you have to pack for like anything. Like I had to pack like club dresses. I had to pack like date dresses. I had to pack like all the things. I had to pack sightseeing clothes. And it's just like so much. And like, I promise you, I have planned out probably like 20 outfits. And of the 20 outfits, of the ones that I planned out, I probably wore like 5. Everything else was just like once I got there, because the weather was so weird. It's like, so typically in Paris at the end of September, it's like 60s. But while we were there, it was in like the high 70s and the 80s, but it also was in the 60s some days. So it was like a mixture. So like there were days where we wore jackets, and there were days that I wore like an off the shoulder top and no jacket. Like we just had to play around with the outfits because of the weather. But overall, dating experience, super cool. I would say if a man invites you to come see him in his country, go. Like, go. What I also thought was pretty cool is that he's never been to US. He's like very well traveled. He's been everywhere, like everywhere. He hasn't been to the US. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool. Um, so like, a couple of things that I'll note that's funny. Like when I told him I lived in Houston, he was like, "Oh, Travis Scott." And I was like, that's funny because like when I think of Houston, I don't really think of Travis Scott. But yes, or then I would be like, it's funny the things that people that are not Americans associate with our culture. What I will say is that while he is French, um, heavily American hip hop influenced, knows all the songs, knows all the rappers. Like, I had went to Lil Baby concert like a couple of months back, and he was like, I love Lil Baby, and I was like, damn, I don't even really know Lil Baby songs like that. Like, so I mean I know them, but not that much. And then like I think I said something about some song. He's like, "Have you heard the new Gunna?" And I'm like, "Nigga, have you heard the new Gunna?" Like, it's just really funny. So, our culture, Black American culture, y'all, we already know that we're trailblazers. We already know that like the world, like we are the blueprint for the world. But like that just really solidified for me. Like that's crazy. Our culture heavily influences so much across the globe. So that's my little piece on that. But let's get into like just more about the Paris trip overall. Um, I mean, more things about him will be sprinkled in just because he was around for some of the stuff that we did, but like I ain't going into no super crazy detail. But okay, so the pros. Paris it didn't stink, it wasn't dirty, it was just like any other metropolitan city to me. The metro was super easy to use, fairly inexpensive. We used that a lot because one, Ubers were kind of hard to get. And then two, like it just was kind of expensive. And like they don't really do the Uber thing there. Like they get on the train. So the first night we met my cousin who she literally goes to Paris like all the time, multiple times a year. She's been going for probably over 20 years. I believe she might have even lived in Paris for like maybe a semester or two when she was in college. She's much older than me. Not much older because I don't want to make her seem old, but she's in her 50s or whatever. But she owns a Parisian inspired vintage boutique in New Jersey. So she goes there to source her clothes for her collection. So she was there during Fashion Week to source clothes for the new collection that I think is coming out like now or whatever at her boutique. So the first night she met up with us and kind of gave us the whole spiel on like, kind of just how to conduct ourselves as Americans there. We have read a lot and, done a lot of research, but it was good to just hear from like another Black person and somebody that's been coming there for years. So one of the things she said was like, don't waste your money on Ubers. Like, if y'all are not opposed to it, get on the train. The metro is super easy to use, like clean. I know they were saying all the stuff about the bugs. We did not experience any bad bug issues. Um, Highly recommend that if you do that, get like the however many day pass that they have and just get the unlimited. I think it's like 7 days for like $40 or something. Totally worth it. Um, but you could also buy like single train tickets or 1 day, 2 day, 3 day tickets or whatever. So that was cool. Um, they don't have AC there, so if you go in the summer and AC is a priority to you, make sure that you book an Airbnb or an hotel with AC. Um, they don't really have, so if they have elevators, they're going to be really old and tiny. But a lot of places don't even have elevators. You have to take the steps. So like the first place we stayed at, our Airbnb, we had a two bedroom, one bathroom Airbnb. Um, at that place, we were on the third floor and there was nothing but steps. So imagine lugging your huge suitcase up the steps by yourself. Like it was crazy. Um, so I actually carried mine and my friend's suitcase up the steps. I carried my big suitcase and hers. Um, I don't know why I was being Wonder Woman that day, but whatever. So I'm trying to think just typical like tips. Oh yeah, just like another travel tip just for Europe in general. I knew this before I went to Paris, but I had told my friend like they don't do washcloths there. So like if you want to have washcloths, bring your own because they only really have like body towels. I don't even think they had hand towels. Did they have a hand towel at the hotel? At the Airbnb, they definitely didn't have hand towels. You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think they had hand towels at the hotel either. So just keep that in mind if you're traveling to Europe. Bring your own washcloths. My friend just brought like a cheap pack from Target and just used them and threw them away. And so I didn't do that. I should have. I actually bought like my good washcloths with me. I shouldn't have done that. But next time I'm just gonna buy a cheap pack and just throw them away. Probably. And we brought our own towels too, but they had towels. Um, so there's that. I'm trying to think what else I can give y'all Paris tips before I get into like the not so amazing things about the trip. What else can I say tips wise? The airport is not close by, so like it's gonna be 30, 45 minutes depending on the time of day to probably get to where you're going. We took an Uber, but like there's like a certain level that you arrive on, and there's like it's kind of confusing. Our Uber driver was so nice, the one that picked us up from the airport. We could not find him. He literally came into the airport to find me. Y'all know in America, they would have been like, bye, bitch. So like it was just so nice. So like that was so welcoming and just so sweet of him. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Looking back, I could have saved myself the hassle had I accepted a ride from that man when he asked to pick me up from the airport. But whatever. Um, so I'm trying to think of other tips like that I can just tell y'all. Yeah, like so when you're dining there, like dining is a really like a really I'm not saying casual, but it's a really slow experience. So like they don't like go into restaurants and just grab a drink and like just leave. It's like an experience. Like you go there, you sit down, they expect you to have like appetizers, drinks, dinner, dessert. They expect you to like sit there like for a couple hours and like have an experience. It's not like in the US where they're like, it's not like that. So, like when you go there, just know that like even if you're stopping in somewhere to just have like a drink and a croissant, like they're expecting you to have like a little bit of a moment there. It's not really as fast paced here. I'm trying to think like what other tips I have for y'all. Um, One of the little few French phrases I learned, la addition. I think that's how you say it. It's like how you say like the check. Parler-tu anglais is how you say, do you speak English? So what we would do is we would start every conversation with parler-tu anglais, so that you can at least ask them first, do you speak English? Don't just go and assume that they speak English or be like, you need to start speaking English to me. Like, don't be that American. Pretty much everywhere we went, people spoke to us in English. Nobody had an attitude about that part. Like that was pretty cool. The only time I got a little annoyed was when we were missing we were about to miss, well, we did miss our flight. So let's talk about the cons, okay? So the food in Paris is two thumbs down. Um, the only restaurants we liked were the ones that were recommended to us by the guy I went out there to see. The food is just it's not giving. It's not. People told me that before I came, and like, it's really not good. I mean, I don't eat escargot, so if you eat that, I've heard it's fantastic out there, but I don't eat it, so I don't know. I've heard it's great. Um, hmm, what else? Cons. Okay, we're on the cons. So yeah, food trash. Although, if you do want a list, I have a list that the guy that I went to see that he gave me of restaurants. So if you want a list, I have a list. We went to this one place called Mama Jackson's that's like went viral on TikTok and all that, and that was trash. It was supposed to be like soul food, which should have known, but everyone was like, "You gotta try it, you gotta try it." Very much giving nothing. Um, so we had an interesting experience. We went to go out to a club one night and we were definitely probably turned around because we were black. We went to the door, the bouncer had told us, like, yeah, y'all can get in, it's $20, like whatever. We're like, cool. We have on outfits that are way more dressy than what the girls in the US are wearing to the clubs these days. Cause you know, we're in our sneaker era, right? The girls are wearing sneakers. I mean, we wear heels, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like that is like it's not like back in my club days and my like early 20s and stuff where you wore a dress and heels to the club no matter what. Like y'all know now, like it being a little more casual is not like a huge deal. But we had on heels, we had on like cute outfits or whatever. And the voucher's like $20 to get in. We go to the front and the man looks at us and he's like, we're not letting anybody in that doesn't have a reservation. But he let mad white girls in after us. So not gonna say it was a race thing, but also it was giving that it was a race thing. So there's that. Um, it could have also been this. So the promoters there want you to be at least 5'7" in heels to get into the club. So we reached out to a promoter and we're like, I was like, hey, whatever, we're trying to go out. We knew where we wanted to go. And the promoter was like, okay, how many people? I was like, two. Promoter was like, send me a picture, send me your friend's Instagram and send me a picture of her. So send the picture of my friend, send her Instagram, and they were like, okay, so you have to be 5'7". And I was like, that's not gonna work for me. She's 5'5", so in heels, she's easily 5'7". I'm 5'2". In heels, I'm not gonna be 5'7". So I was like, this is like what? And so I told them, and they're like, well, just make sure that you're on point from head to toe. Excuse me? Like, bitch, I'm on point from head to toe rolling out the bed. So who is you talking to? Like, it was just very weird. And I feel like maybe it was because I wasn't tall enough that we didn't get to the club that night. But I had on like I didn't have on no crazy shoe. I had on like a plain black Louboutin pump. The heel is probably 4.5 maybe. I don't know. But like I just was so confused because it's like, why do you care about the height of the people in the club? So that was just really weird. Didn't love that experience. Okay, so another thing, it's not a con, it's just a general tip. So they do hookah there. Like, so first, okay, con. Everywhere you go, they smoke cigarettes. It's nothing like the US where people are like frowning and like, oh, it's like I literally forgot that people smoke cigarettes like that because like it just we don't see it in the US anymore. But in France, they definitely still smoke cigarettes. Like everybody smokes them. Not everybody, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like it's not uncommon. So we would go to restaurants and we would sit outside and it would just they would sit you by somebody that's just smoking, and it would just ruin the whole shit. So like just be prepared that like they do smoke. The tables are really close together at some of the cafes and stuff like that. So just be prepared for that. With that being said, they also smoke hookah a lot. So like y'all know I live in Houston, so like y'all know how Houston, Atlanta be the hookah capitals of the U.S. Y'all know how they get down. Like you're gonna get hookah at the hair salon, you're gonna get hookah at the barbershop, the car wash, the restaurants. Like hookah is everywhere. So I was used to that, but they have a lot of hookah like lounges or cafes, but they don't have liquor. So it'll be like hookah and tea and coffee. So like the guy, we was like, we want to go to hookah lounge, and he was like, okay, y'all want to like turn up, like y'all want to be chill. We were like, oh, we want to do chill. So the hookah lounge he took us to did not have no liquor, and I was like, and so he started laughing or whatever because um, he was like, I should have known that you would want liquor. Actually, you should have fucking known. You right. So he was like, but you said you want to chill, so whatever. Anyways, they ended up taking us to another hookah lounge that I will recommend to y'all. I just have to find the name of it again. But there's a hookah lounge that was cool. It was low key, but they played like hip hop music. They had a full bar and they have food. And like it was just good vibes. I actually went twice. The first time I went, he took me by myself, and then the second time I went, I took my friend or whatever. But it was like that was dope. Like I really like that hookah lounge. So they do have some stuff that's more like traditional hookah lounges, but just don't be surprised if you find hookah there that they don't serve anything but coffee, tea, and like water. And they just sit there, they just smoke their hookah. It's like a it's just like a casual, like real chill thing or whatever. Um, so yeah, I didn't find any hookah lounges that were like for people that are like used to Houston and Atlanta, and I think they have one in DC now, like a crew, where it's like a hookah lounge, but they have like a DJ and stuff. I did not find any of those there. I'm sure there might be some there, but I didn't come across them. I'm trying to think what else. Cons. Oh, there's like this one. Okay, so I did go to the Vapiano there. So everybody that loves Vapiano in the US is not the same. Not the same. Like y'all, if that is what Vapiano was in the US, we would not be missing out on nothing. Did not enjoy it. The best thing I had was the garlic bread. They have this garlic bread that they like put like garlic butter on and like this cheese. It was so good. But like my pasta was trash. Her pasta was trash. Like the whole experience was like not like what we're used to, where like you go and you tap the card, and they didn't have any of that. But the neighborhood that Vapiano was in, oh my God, it was the cutest neighborhood. I gotta find out what the neighborhood is. I actually did like drop a pin in the neighborhood so that I could go back and be like, let me look up this neighborhood. And I'm mad I didn't do it. But y'all, the neighborhood was so cute. It was just like, I can't describe it, but like my friend and I, we walked from Vapiano to a train set. We walked every. By the way, bring walking shoes. You're gonna walk everywhere. Like it's safe. I never felt like we did get a little made a little wrong turn. We ended up in a little sketchy area, but we were even fine in the sketchy area. Like even the sketchy area, we was good. But anyway, so we leave Vapiano, we're walking to like the metro station or whatever, and there's one that was close by us, but that one was not a direct. It was not directly on the line that we needed, and I was like, girl, I don't feel like changing trains. Let's just walk to the one that's gonna get us straight home. And she was like, cool. It was like a 10-minute walk. The neighborhood was so cute, y'all. It was giving me like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of a neighborhood that's similar. It was just cute. They had like mid-rise apartment buildings. Like you could tell it was more modern. I'm pretty sure those buildings probably had elevators in them. It was just cute. And I was just like, when I move to France, I'm moving to this neighborhood. Totally not moving to France. But y'all know I'm delusional. So like that's what I was saying. Like when I move to France, I'm moving to this neighborhood. So that was really cute. Trying to think what else, y'all. Like y'all asked me for this, and I'm just trying to. Oh, I guess I can tell y'all a funny story. This is probably super TMI, but my friend has like this tea or whatever that she uses called like Smooth Moves, and it's like a tea that's like supposed to be like a, I guess a laxative essentially, right? And so she was like, told her my stomach had been hurt, and I was like, my stomach hurt, and like whatever. She was like, cool, I'm gonna make you some of this tea or whatever. She was like, what I heard was, I'll make you some of this tea, drink half before we go out, and the other half before you go to bed. She puts 2 tea bags in it. It's steeping all day. So this tea is like super potent, super, super potent. So we was getting ready to go out or whatever. So I drink half the tea, and then we end up not going out. I go to bed, and before I go to bed, I just drink the rest of the tea. Wake up the next morning, my stomach is dying. Okay, like dying. So I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh my God, like what the fuck is in this tea? Like, how am I gonna get through the day? So eventually I'm like, okay, I'm good. Power through. We're gonna go to brunch. So we go to this brunch. It's called Soho Sunday in Soho. I gotta tell y'all the name of the brunch spot, but it's like it's Soho something. What I liked was that they had bottomless or whatever. And I'm like, well, it's Sunday, Sunday fun day in Paris. Let's do bottomless or whatever. Um, so we did bottomless at this restaurant, and like I'm there and the pain in my stomach hits me again. Y'all, oh my God, the whole day, I'm having to go to the bathroom in public because otherwise we were going to be stuck in the fucking house. Y'all, she was so fucking weak. I'm weak. I'm dying. Then to make matters worse, y'all. My ass just being who the fuck I am. I'm drinking espresso martinis on top of the fact that I just drank this fucking laxative tea. Y'all, it was a rough day. By the time like 6 or 7 o'clock hit, I was fine. But I struggled through the whole day. And we were like sightseeing. It was just her and I that day. We were just like sightseeing and all that. And like, whoo, it was a rough day. It was a rough day. Like, and she's so weak because she never told me to drink the whole thing. She told me, I think she said take half one day, half the other. I heard what I heard. She said she didn't say that. But basically she says that the amount of tea that I drink in one night is the amount that she drinks in 2 to 3 days. So that's why I was dying because it was way too strong and I drank way too much. So that was funny. Like, dying all day. Like, oh my God, y'all. And I'm not no person to be trying to go to no bathroom in public like that. It was just a fucking nightmare. It was so funny. It was just funny because everywhere we went, like I had to go to the bathroom and she was just so fucking weak. And I'm weak because it was just like in the bathrooms, always be downstairs. They don't be having no AC. They be like, this one bathroom, it was literally like just a toilet with no toilet seat on it. Like, oh my God, I'm having flashbacks. It was so crazy. So we went to like this little cafe. We were over by Notre Dame. We were over by the church or whatever. And that's where I ended up going. We went and going to a cafe or whatever because she wanted like a croissant. And so we went in there and I was like, girl, I gotta go to the bathroom. And then what I do, drink a fucking espresso martini. Like, I'm fucking crazy. But we had a blast. Um, I would say we did do the hop on, hop off bus. I would say like it was $40. It was a waste of money for us just because of how we did our day. But I would say if you do it, maybe do it the first day and then like let it give you like a layout of the city and then decide what places you want to necessarily go back to or where you want to get off because it's very stops throughout the whole city. So we did that. We did Chomps, whatever the luxury shopping area is. We did that. Um, of course, we did the Eiffel Tower. We did a cruise on the I think it's got the Seine River. I think it's how you say it, or Siren River, whatever it is. The river in Paris. I think it's Siren or something like that. Or Seine. I don't know. But we went on a cruise. We could have skipped that. That was a waste of money. It was like super packed on there. Like we couldn't really hear the tour guide. If I do it, it would be a smaller boat. It would be more like less touristy or whatever, but that was cool. If you go in the summer on Wednesdays, they have a boat that leaves from over by the Eiffel Tower that does a party every Wednesday night. It's like a hip hop R&B party every Wednesday night. They did their last one the night that we came in, and it was like a Met Gala theme, but it was in celebration of Fashion Week. So if you go during the summer, look that up. That was really cool. We really wanted to go, but we had planned dinner with my cousin, and so we weren't going to be able to do both. But we're sad we missed that. So that's something to do in the summer. There's tons of clubs if you're into Afro beats and what's the other genre that y'all listening to right now? I can't think of it. That house um Afro beats on piano or whatever. If you're into that, tons of that music is out there. Like that's like really what they listen to heavy out there. Of course, there's some hip hop. Um, so yeah, Eiffel Tower was cool. We didn't go to like the top or anything. I would go back and go to the top. Tons of people out there to take pictures and all of that stuff. That was pretty cool. We got crepes while we were out there. What else did we do while we were out of the Eiffel Tower? We just walked around. That was cool. We went to like an Italian restaurant that night that was recommended to us, not by the guy, but by like somebody else, and that was trash. Um, the drinks are pretty good out there. Oh, no, they're not actually. So going to the stores to try to find tequila, not gonna happen. At best, you the only brand you're going to recognize that they sell out there in the stores is gonna be Patron, like Silver Patron. They don't even have a Repo or the Anejo. They have like some other brand, like what was the brand called? It was like named after a country in Mexico. And we Googled it and I was like, it was given Jose Cuervo. And I was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. Some of the restaurants have tequila, but if they have it, it's not gonna be a recognizable brand. The clubs seem to have recognizable brands or whatever for bottle service, but I don't know what they serve at the club, like or whatever as far as tequila goes. So while we were there, we drank Jack Daniels and Jameson like the whole time. And even that, like they don't have like a Basil Hayden or like a Woodford or like a good bourbon or whiskey. They drink a lot of vodka out there. So any vodka you can think of, you're gonna find it. Of course, lots of wine, lots of champagne. But the drinks were decent, like at the restaurants and stuff. That was really cool. I'm trying to think what else I can tell y'all. Um, okay, well, I can give y'all a little bit of like insight into what I think culturally the difference is in dating here and my very limited experience with dating a French man. Seemingly the basic things are very similar. Like he was a gentleman. Anything we did, I did when I was with him. He paid for it, paid for me and my friend when we were together. Um, Culturally, they think American women are very promiscuous. So, like, one of the things that he told me was that, like, he's never dated an American woman. Um, And so his friends think it's crazy because they think that like all American women are like promiscuous and like they look at us as like we're gonna just want to have threesomes and I was like, look, not happening. And he laughed because he was like, I know that you're not like that or whatever. And if that's what you do, that's what you do. But I'm just not gonna do that. And culturally, like it's a little different. It's a little different. I'm trying to think of like what the bases are. Guys are still gentle, like guys still understand they need to be gentlemen and like the basics are still there, but I think culturally there are some things that's different, specifically culturally to him because of his background. It's just a little different, like, but I think overall like the gist of it's there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't notice like a major difference other than like the time zone. um but in general, I feel like it's not. I'll say this: niggas gonna be niggas wherever they at. Like that's what I'll say. And it's not nothing bad to say about him, but it's just funny because it's like, okay, so for instance, like we're at dinner and like y'all know how like here during like football, NFL, like I said football, NFL, during NFL, NBA season, like men are betting on like FanDuel and stuff. Like during dinner, like he pulled out his phone. He just like sits on the table and it's just like sitting there. And I'm being nosy. Not like I can read what's on the screen, but I'm gonna be nosy. So I was looking and I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "Oh, I'm betting on like soccer games." And I was like, "Niggas gonna be niggas wherever we're at." Like it's just really funny because like it's the same. It's really the same. So like black men are the same everywhere in like a good way, in a good way. Like I didn't feel like it was a huge cultural difference or a huge cultural divide, other than the fact that there was a language barrier. But the language barrier really was only an issue because I talk really fast, and so he would be like, "I don't understand," or if I said something that was complicated. But like, for instance, like he said something funny, and I was like, "Go to hell," and he got it. Like it wasn't like because like technically like you know what I'm saying, like that's like a phrase in our culture and I'm like I don't know how that would, but I said it and he got it, so like yeah, he understood enough. Now me on the other hand, he taught me a little bit of French, like a little bit. i I could probably not even repeat it. I'm not even gonna try because the pronunciation is just over my head. um but yeah, so dating wise it wasn't like a huge difference. Trying to think. There were some cultural aspects that were different, like just some of the responsibilities that he has culturally is a little bit more than what we would have here in the US. So that was interesting to kind of learn. And to learn like what he thought about America and like, just the perception of us and women and like all that stuff. it was just different, but it was cool. Like I really enjoy getting to know more about the culture, not as a I mean, I'm still a tourist, but not as a tourist, right? Like he's teaching me things that I probably wouldn't get if I didn't know somebody that was native to the area, like well enough to ask like deeper questions or whatever. So like he was really open to talk to me about it. We exchanged a lot of like conversation about just how it is in the US, how it is here, and things like that or whatever. So that was cool. But back to like the trip itself. I'm trying to think what else we did. We did not go into the Louvre. I was just not trying to do the long lines because it was fashion week. I was really tired. I trying to do a long lines. It's 11 o'clock, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But so we didn't go in there. If I go back, I would go in there. We did some different exhibits because it was Fashion Week. Dior had like an exhibit that we went to that was really cool. Well, I'm trying to think what else we did, y'all. Like, oh, we went to Champagne, France, which was huge. Okay, so we took the train from Paris to Epernay for a day and a half, and that was an experience. Like, I don't even feel like that was an experience. Like, y'all, we almost missed the fucking train because, like, I stayed up late messing around, not messing around literally, but just talking to that, like hanging out with that guy. I stayed up late hanging out with him till like 3, 4 in the morning or whatever. Our train left at 8, so I had to be up at like 7. Um, yeah, and I wasn't drunk or anything. Like just had to be up early. And so like it was just a mess. Like getting everything, trying to get on the train, y'all. We barely made the damn train. It's a 45-minute ride out there. We got out there, we got to our hotel, and immediately after we get to the hotel, we have to get dressed because our first tour of the first champagne house that we went to, Pommery, Pommery is the first champagne house that we went to. The first it was so cool though. I'm tell you about that in a second. The tour of that like one started at 10:30 in the morning. Our train got there at like 8:45 or something. So we had to like go to the hotel, change back. I'm talking about fast, y'all. Do makeup, do hair, put on an outfit, and get there. We got there, we were late. So our tour had left us. So that was a whole other thing. But like that one was super cool because they have like an underground cave. Um, where they like to make the wine. It was built back a long, long, long time ago, and it was just really dope to like kind of see. Very spooky, like it was giving like crypts under there or something. Um, is that like I don't know? Is it called crypts? Is that what it's called? I don't know, but y'all know what I mean, like creepy stuff. Like, isn't it called a crypt? I don't know. Yeah, it's called a crypt because the crypt keeper. Yeah, yeah, a crypt. So they was giving crypts. But drank lots of champagne. That was a cool tour. Then we went and we had lunch. Oh, we were in a rush, so we had to have lunch at McDonald's. Actually, we ate a lot of fast food because the food was terrible and we were just tired of fucking trying. So we ate a lot of fast food. Very interesting experience there, but um we ate at McDonald's and then we went on our next tour or whatever at another champagne house, which was cool. Then we went to the Moet and Chandon one. I will say that like this is just a full circle moment for me. Like since I was like in like my early 20s and I found out that like for champagne to be considered champagne, it had to be the grapes had to be grown in the Champagne region. I have always been like, oh, I'm going to Champagne, France to like have champagne. And to say that I did that, y'all, that was like a huge bucket list moment for me. Like, I'm not like a real like emotional like traveler, but I have just it was just one of those full circle moments where I was like, wow, like God, thank you because this is something that I literally said I was gonna do and I'm doing it. And that coupled with the fact that I had already been to Barcelona earlier this year, which is one of my other bucket list trips, it was just like I don't know, it was just really like moving and I was really pleased with myself and really proud of myself that I've been able to give myself this life and do the things that I said I want to do and I'm doing them like much earlier than I thought I would be able to do them and just being able to do them with my own money and do things like that. It just for me it was like I don't know, it was just like a proud moment. Like I work hard and it was just good to be able to feel like it was worth it. Um like that all my hard work pays off. I'm doing things I want to do. So that was super cool. Highly recommend that if you go to Paris, do a day out there or 2 days. We went on a Monday. I would recommend like the weekends, but the weekends are more packed, but there's more champagne houses that are open. But like I had a good time. It was fun. Like we just got drunk. wandered around the city. It was just a good time. Then we went to dinner that night. And how was dinner that? Oh, that night we went to like another Italian. We ate a lot of Italian. We went to another Italian restaurant, and the whole experience was semi ruined because somebody was definitely smoking cigarettes inside the restaurant. The food was there. It was okay. The cava, I mean not cava, I'm thinking about Barcelona. The champagne was really good and really cheap. I had a really good dessert that night. Um, but overall, like the food in that area is just not giving a lot. The guy that I went to see, he told me that he did not agree with me. He was like, the best thing about France is the food. And I was like, is it? So I guess we just wasn't going to the right places. Um, But like I said, he had gave me a whole list. I'll be happy to share with y'all. Anything that we did do that was related to his list or his recommendations were actually good. So I did not make it to Moulin Rouge, which I really wanted to do, because it was like sold out because it was Fashion Week and it was kind of sold out. The only time they had was like Tuesday night, at 11 p.m., which is the night before we left, and I didn't really want to do that. And then I think we looked back at that, and even that was sold out. But y'all, we had a good time. We had a good time just having a girls' time, and I had a good time hanging out with the guy. It was just one of those trips where we didn't over plan it. Um, like in a good way. Like we didn't overplan it in the way that like where it's like, oh, you have to be here at 11, here at 12, blah blah blah. Like I planned a few things and then we just kind of winged everything else. Like I planned Sunday brunch. So like Sunday brunch, I planned it for noon or something. So we did that, but then the rest of the day we didn't plan anything out. So I planned like one activity a day, except for like maybe 2 days. And the most planned out day we had was the visit to Epernay because obviously we had to schedule the tours or whatever, especially since we were doing English speaking tours. So, yeah, it was cool overall. It was probably not probably. So, it was the most expensive trip that I've ever been on. Like I spent a lot of money while I was there, but it was probably one of my least favorite trips. And not like I had a blast doing the things that I did, but I did not need to be there for 8 days. I could have totally done like 4 days and then hung out with it. Like I him to fly to another city with me or go to the city with me or something. But like I did not need to be in Paris for no 8 days. It was like I didn't need that. So I would go back if it was free. Like yeah, like I would go back for completely free. Like by free, I mean like I don't have to pay for shit the whole time I'm there. Like nothing. Which is probably not gonna happen. And maybe I do like a quick little 2 nights there because I do want to see like Moulin Rouge. I wouldn't mind going to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Um, I did see the Arc de Triomphe. I guess that's how you say it. I saw that. That was really cool. I think y'all seen my niggas in Paris video that I made. Oh, we found this one area that was like super cute, had a whole bunch of shops and like restaurants. So we went in like all these little random shops. I bought a ring, I bought a bracelet. I went to another like little eclectic. It looked like kind of like a vintage boutique, but then it had a bunch of like random stuff. So I bought this really cute little espresso mug that says like fuck Tuesdays. And then on the inside it says like fuck the gym, fuck errands, fuck anxiety. I just thought it was so cute. It's like I brought that back home. My friend brought back home a couple of things. So like I didn't buy any like traditional souvenirs except for like my two goddaughters. Other than that, everything I bought back were things that were practical because I'm like I'm tired of going places and buying like magnets and shot glasses. Like that's cool, but like I think it's way more cool to like have on a bracelet and somebody be like, oh, I love your bracelet, and then you'll be like, oh, I got this in Paris. So like, I'm working on like buying stuff like that, like clothing or like conversation starters or things that I can use like a bunch of shot glasses. Like I have plenty of shot glasses. So yeah, I say all that to say like I if I had to rate this trip, and again, this is not the fun I had, but this was just Paris and just the overall experience. It was not the company. If I had to rate Paris, I would give it like a 7 out of 10. Um, I'd do a 2 nights there and I'd get out. Now, if you're going for the first time ever, maybe 3 nights is good enough for you. But like I think 4 nights is more than enough. And I mean, of course, unless you're going to Versailles, which I didn't go to Versailles, I wouldn't mind going to Versailles. Like there's things that I missed that I would have done differently. I really do want to go to the south of France. So I would go back. to do a night or two in Paris and then go to the south of France. I really just want to be in the south of France, like, on a beach, just giving like, yacht, like that's just the vibes that I want to do. So would do that again, would definitely do Epernay again. Would love to do Epernay again because I want to go to all the champagne houses. They are not like winery tours in the US where like the pours are super small and they're like two glasses. It's not like when you go on like to a winery and they give you like a full tasting. It was just really kind of basic and to me a little bit overpriced. But we did go to Pommery, which has like an underground train throughout the like thing. That was super cool. So we got to ride the train through like the whole cave or whatever. Um, yeah, like recommend going because it's something to see. But if it's not on the top of your bucket list because you're not like super pressed, I would say don't rush. Um, Fashion Week, I'll make a note about this. I wish that I knew had more connections so that okay, that's weird. I wish I had more connections so that Fashion Week could have been more of an experience, but there were like fashion shows and things like that that you can get into, but like none of like the big ones. But one of my neighbors was like, "Why you didn't tell me you was going to Paris? I had connections." So had I known, I would have asked him or whatever. But say all that to say, y'all, it was a good trip. Going on a date, flying to another country to go on a date, 10 out of 10. Um, Laughing with your friend. And I want to just take a moment to thank Shatar. We have the best time together. Oh, I lost my purse. I lost my purse and my ID on the train. I left it on the train. And even through that, we laughed. Like, get you a friend that I don't talk to Shatar every day, like at all. And it does not matter. I've been knowing her since I was 19, 20 years old. We were neighbors when I was in college, and then we've been friends since. Get you a friend that just is gonna make the best of the circumstances regardless. Like we had a blast just laughing and just being who we are and like having weird shit happen to us and being like, this is fucking unreal. So I would say if you take nothing else from this, just find you a travel partner, somebody that's like gonna be down to do things with you and they know how to have fun and they know how to turn like the negative to a positive because no trip is gonna be perfect. When we missed that flight, we were blown, but we started laughing because it's like, is this fucking serious? We wanted nothing more than to go home that night. So it was like really funny that like that ended up happening. So say all that to say, y'all get out here and see the world, have fun. If you have direct Paris questions, feel free to ask me. I tried to give y'all a little taste of it just off the top of my head, but I don't have my phone to like look and go through or whatever. So, to give y'all like more things, this is all top of my head. So, yeah, with that being said, thanks for listening. I will come back with an episode with more up to date current things, but y'all have been asking for the Paris episode. So, here's the Paris episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. That's weird again. Like, which way is it? That's weird again. Um, but yeah, thanks for listening, and I will be talking to y'all soon.